Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man! At your start of the New Year services. How are you all? Hope we're doing very well. Are you recovering after a New Year's Eve night of revelry and merriment? Obviously, adhering to certain restrictions depending on what territory you happen to be in. Hope we're all doing very well. Yeah, it's now 2022. That's an easy year though, isn't it? It's easy. It's all twos. You know, you can't get confused over this one. It's just all the twos are in there. Now, I don't want to say that thing which we're all going to be saying, well, let's hope it's better than last year. Things can't get any worse, can they? No, this is not the time for doom nor gloom. So, I do wish every one of you a fabulous 2022. There is so much to look forward to, and so much that we hope doesn't happen. But what's the point of dwelling on that right now? It's Saturday, the sun is shining, it's beaming down. In the UK right now, our temperatures have broken records, yeah. And that's one for all of the ecologists, of course, because it's just proof of global warming. It is. Up in the Highlands of Scotland, it's broken all records for January the 1st. So it's definitely the world is hotting up. We know that, and we know what we can do. Anyway, so this little video is basically to wish you all a fabulous 2022. There is, as I say, a lot to look forward to, a lot to dread, but we won't talk about that. So, what have we got to look forward to this year? Well, hopefully, in some people's cases, the ousting of certain prime ministers, presidents, and premiers in charge of government. In the UK, I certainly hope, pray, and genuinely expect to see Boris Babyface Johnson getting ousted. My wish, his head on a block, probably won't come true, but I don't really foresee him lasting for much longer in office. Although his last little stinger will be a lockdown. It's coming, folks, it's coming. But anyway, what else got to look forward to? Well, I'll tell you, one of the things I'm really looking forward to, and you may have heard of it, you may not have heard of it, but the James Webb Space Telescope was launched. Was it Christmas Day? I think it was. And this is what is it now? $10 billion worth of space technology, revolutionary technology going out there where no man has gone before. And it's going to be able to film and record and photograph back in time. This is going to go further out than any space telescope we've ever used before. So far surpassing anything we've got on Earth-based telescopes. But it's going to go beyond the Hubble, which is only in Earth orbit anyway. So it's very limited in that's child's play. You can buy a Hubble space kit and make it out of Lego and see just as much as the real thing can see. This thing is going to slingshot round. Is it Saturn or is it Mars? I can't remember which. It's going to slingshot. It's going to take 6 months before it's fully deployed. It's got to go to one first position and then do certain maneuvers to make sure it's working properly. And then it's going to slingshot and go in orbit around the sun. The sun. I know. Amazing, isn't it? I never asked for that response there. But it happened anyway. It's going to slingshot around. And what happens is, it's got solar sails on it. So when it reaches its final deployment position, which will be an orbit around the sun, it's got these heat shields on it, which are going to withstand the incredible, incendiary, hellish, inferno heat of the sun. But behind it, all instrumentation will be freezing cold. That's really, absolutely revolutionary, groundbreaking technology there. And it has these solar sails, which will unfurl bit by bit, one by one, and they come out slowly, one vein by vein by vein, just bit of the canopy at a time. And it goes to a position in about 29 days from now, and then it then moves on via the slingshot into its final proper orbit, and then you've got to deploy all these instruments, and there's 350 different systems on board this thing. And get this, folks, if any single one of them fails, the whole thing's written off. The whole thing fails. It's one of those systems, complete elaborate machinery where every single component has to work. And if one fails, then the whole thing is just gone. It's kaput. So there's a lot riding on this. But why is it important, folks? Why is it important? Well, the James Webb's going to see the stars, which were like at the very start of the Big Bang. It's going to see back that far. It's going to see how stars were formed. We think we know certain things. This is going to reveal far more. And the whole redshift thing, how it can see things, because you can't see things in normal light. You've got to look in the infrared spectrum, and that's how you see things. So it's going to be viewing in the redshift. So we're going to see so much more real time, real life, the colours of real nebula and constellations. We're going to see far more planets, far more stars, far more systems, how they evolved, and things which could be even more exciting. Yeah, of course, yeah. Aliens. And we know they're here already. That's the next thing, isn't it? We've had, how many COVIDs are we going to get now? We've had 19, we've had Delta, we've had Omicron. We're going to have, COVID, whatever next. Just pick a number. You're going to get all this shit. This is what's going to happen. But the next major thing to hit planet Earth, other than asteroids and, bloody meteorites, it's aliens. It's got to be. Come on now, we're gearing up for this. It's got to be aliens, hasn't it? It's got to be. For fuck's sake, bring it on. Bring it on. Let them land on the White House lawn and issue an ultimatum. Glatu barada nikto. Don't fuck with us, otherwise we'll just blow your asses into oblivion. Or they're going to come down like, phone home and all this kind of shit. Or they're going to be like The Thing and just devour us all. But either way, bring it on, bring it on. But that's got to be the next step, hasn't it? In this helter-skelter, crazy sort of lineage of disaster, catastrophe, crisis, non-stop, endless bad news. And we've got Gandalf singing here. How optimistic is this? The opening bits of music from The Fellowship of the Ring, it's all Hobbity inspired. It's so wildly happy, joyous and optimistic that me and my son, we watched the original Lord of the Rings trilogy in 4K, and we do it this sort of time, start of the new year, and we chisel out some days and we sit and watch them, and the world's a better place, and it's such an impactful tale. I mean, you may have noticed I've got my elven cloak on with my little Lothlorien elven leaf clasp. It's hard to say that. Lothlorien elven leaf clasp. A lot of L's. You don't normally have a sentence with so many L's in it, do you? Do you L? Cheers, folks. It was New Year's Day, 2022, as I say, and we look back on last year, which, if you ever noticed, people do a look back video. They do it before the new year starts, which is a bit of a weird thing to do when you think about it, because so you do your video, and TV shows are like this as well. They do a lot of, they look back on the year that's just gone by, but they do it just before the new year starts. No. Big silly mistake. Remember that asteroid I just mentioned? So what about you've just posted your video up, or you've done your TV program, and you've talked about all the highlights and the lowlights of the previous year and what you're looking forward to. But at 10 o'clock on New Year's Eve, an asteroid might hit Hawaii. That tsunami might take out Indonesia, and you've missed that out. Oh God, no, I didn't mention that. Should have waited, shouldn't you? Do you look back? on the previous year, launch it in the new year. Kind of makes sense. I might do that. I don't know. But I think you've got to try to remain optimistic. Despite all the grief, the strife, the controversy which is raging around the world, all the hate, the social media ridiculousness, for every thing that happens, there's an opposing faction, and then there's someone that comes up underneath and comes up with all conspiratorial theories. Don't get me wrong, I do adhere to some sort of the genesis of some of these conspiracies. I genuinely do believe in. I don't trust governments at all. I don't trust royalty. Well, I've got a long historical reason for that. For both governments and royalty, especially in this fucking United Kingdom. United. My ass. But, there's a lot of truth to these things. And whether you believe in coronavirus or you don't, coronavirus and COVID is a thing. Whether it's man-made, whether it's fictitious, whether it's a placebo, whether it's been planted into our arms, whatever you believe, it is a thing which is now governing our lives, because the governments around the world are making it govern our lives. And little new laws get thrust under the carpet, under the smoke screen of all this. Get your booster, your booster. I know. While I'm off impregnating women all around the sovereign nation, and whilst I'm meant to be looking after you people and fostering in, laws that look after you and make your lives better. No, I'm just having my right old time of it. Bastard. All of them bastards. Can't help myself, can I? I just go back onto it like, you try to be happy and go, oh no, these twats are still there. But on the bright side, but no, these cunts are still going to undermine us. It is what it is, and you've got to live with it. But you've got to be happy at the same time. What they can't take away from you is your smile. That's pretty much what you've got left, really, when it comes down to it. But if you can grin in the face of adversity and lies and deceit and, endless hypocrisy, then at least you've got something. And you've got to be able to do that. You've got to be able to... There's always a bright side. And there is the thing about nothing is ever as bad as it seems. Nothing. You could be in the worst place. But if you remember that... I know people that have been tortured, that have been captured in military service, captured, tortured, and really threatened with execution on almost a daily basis, and yet still manage to find humour in the worst of situations. I'm trying to be happy and bright, and I've brought up torture and mutilation. As you do. But even those people who came through it, they look back on it now and they look, hang on a minute, there were moments of brevity when you realise that, look, well, the worst has already happened. I've been caught. I've gone through absolute unbearable fear and tension, and they've threatened me with all sorts. They've beaten me to a pulp, but I'm still here. Well, if they're going to kill me now, well, that's probably going to be a bonus to get me out of all this boredom of sitting in a cell in my own piss and shit. So, which is what they were like. And if someone who's been through that kind of horrendous hardship and worry and distress and trauma, if they can still say, look, it's actually not as bad as you think. Nothing is ever as bad as it seems. The threat of trouble, of turmoil, of worry, of fear, loss of a job, loss of income, loss of your house, loss of a limb, but people still get by. I'm not making light of hellish scenarios that people do go through, but even throughout the worst possible thing you can imagine, there can be glimmers of hope, can be glimmers of brevity, and nothing is brighter than the glimmer of hope. Even if it's in the far distance, hope is what keeps us aspiring, keeps us dreaming, keeps us alive. Gotta have that. shadow looming there. Not a shadow over like Middle Earth. It's a shadow of a husky dog strolling past. She's just been out taking in the midday sun, because it is, for January the 1st, it is incredibly lovely. It's warm, it's bright, the sun is shining. Could you ask for a more optimistic sort of, beginning to the year? And I'm saying that, and there's people watching this going like, well, actually, there's a blizzard outside my place right now. It's freezing cold, there's a hellish storm, erupting. But take it from me, that's an optimistic sign, I hope. So let's look at some other things. We've talked about the James Webb Telescope, which I think is a great thing. Despite the fact that I do believe that NASA knows a hell of a lot more than they're ever telling us. And a lot of these things may well be smokescreens for what they're really doing and what they've done and learned decades and decades ago. But at least we're going to get lots of documentaries and TV shows about the James Webb and his wonderful, wonderful space photography. And I do look forward to that, providing it doesn't fuck up on us. In which case, it's then a $10 billion bit of floating debris in space. And wouldn't that be just typical of the human race? We spent a fortune and we cocked it up, and now we've left some wreckage, some debris, ecological disaster floating in space. The fucking thing will come back to Earth and just destroy poor Hawaii again. There's always a thing about Hawaii. It's always like meteors and asteroids are always, they're penned into like, oh, the trajectory is going to hit Hawaii. Why Hawaii? What's so bad about Hawaii? It's lovely. Wakatiti and all that kind of shit, like, I don't know. So, what else to look forward to? Well, this year, we have some movies to look forward to. Let's get back on something more familiar. Movies. Thor, Love and Thunder. Taika Waititi, Kiwi, New Zealander. Chris Hemsworth. Oh my God, I cannot wait for this movie. Jesus, I can't wait. So that's getting a bit too rousing there, isn't it? But yeah, the comedy of Ragnarok, the off-the-wall quality that he brought to Thor, the character. Chris Hemsworth always had this sort of, he was comedic. There was a nice sort of bent to his character, which was left field, and Taika Waititi was enabling him to bring out the pure comedy and the brash idiocy of Thor, the cinematic Thor, and it works to a T. So I cannot wait for that. Cannot wait for it. We also have the Batman, Robert Pattinson. Oh, the Batman. Some would say, do we actually need another Batman movie? What the hell? Well, yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. As I've said many times, just don't tell the origin story again. We don't need to know about his mum and dad getting killed. We don't need to know. We know who he is. Just start the story with him being Batman. Just start that. And this looks like that's what it's doing. So can't wait. Can't wait. Looks amazing. Second trailer dropped a few days ago, and yeah, like it. Bit more of a love story involved in it, but adding more facets to the story. Looks great. I've massively invested in this. Can't wait. The Northman. I did a big video on this. The Northman, yes. By the guy that directed Robert Pattinson in The Lighthouse. Yeah. And what's his name? Robert Eggers. Can't wait for this. Can't wait for this. It's Vikings. It's blood and thunder as opposed to love and thunder. It's just, God, it looks great. And with possibly a surreal element as well, which as only Robert Eggers can deliver. But yeah, it looks amazing. Alexander Skarsgård, ripped and chiseled and beefed up, like, oh yeah, that's a pure vengeance-fueled Viking. Is there any other kind of Viking? Is it a peace-loving Viking who just wants to sit off and like make daisy chains? And like, oh, a robin, ooh, a bee, oh, a little jackrabbit, oh, wonderful. Doesn't want to get aboard, a long ship and like travel across the sea, the raging, torrential, tempestuous seas to go and rape and ransack and raid villages. I can't wait for it. You've got Scream 5, or is it just called Scream? A bit confused about this one, to be honest. I like the Scream franchise, although I did think it went a bit too far with its the references and the whole breaking the sort of media, the bubble of all the horror genre. It became too obvious, too knowing. And yet I still enjoyed it at the same time. There was a whole Scooby-Doo element of guess who's the killer, or guess how many might be the killers. And I like it. And so I do get a kick out of this. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. But is it called Scream or is it called Scream 5? Because it is Scream 5 and it is a follow-on. It's not a reboot, it's a follow-on, isn't it? So, and I did like all the first four. So, Scream 5, bring it on. What else have we got? Oh, yeah. Halloween Ends. Sweet Jesus. Well, I'm going to watch it. I'm invested in this saga, the character of Michael Myers, the pathetic, boring character of Laurie Strode now. Once a valiant heroine back in 1978 and then 1981 with Halloween 2, although she's fucking comatose for most of that movie. But Laurie Strode was a towering, iconic figure of female empowerment. And then the woke generation, they brought her back as this survivalist, ridiculous, single-minded, Ripley-esque Rambolina. It was still shit. The only token gesture to reality with her was that she turned to alcoholism. See, because I've been drinking alcohol, I can't even say the word alcoholism. Which reminds me, I must have some more alcohol. Start as you mean to go on, Kilt-Man. It's 2022, and we ain't saving the liver this year. So, yeah, Halloween Kills was a pile of shit. I spent most of 2 years looking forward to that because of COVID. Again, it raised its ugly head, delaying that film coming out. And was it worth the wait? A lot of you guys think so, but I don't. I think it was a pile of shit. It was the worst, turgid, cliche-ridden, boring sack of unexciting, unfrightening, completely unsuspenseful, badly written, badly acted wank. It was just terrible. I despised it. And of course, that's because I went in with such high expectations. I've been bigged it up from video to video. Oh God, the mask, the music, and then and then finally saw it and like, wow, what a shit fest it was. But Halloween Ends is meant to be a bit of a different sort of different fish. It's meant to be a quieter affair. It's set clearly. It's set years. It's set now. So it's meant to be like it's taking on board the COVID pandemic and all that. See, once again, you can't escape it, can you? It's about that. It's taking that into account. So that could be a good thing. So, despite my my grievances with Halloween Kills, even that fucking title annoys me. Even if the film was great, I'd still despise that title, Halloween Kills. And again, like saying about Scream, is it Scream 5 or is it just called Scream again? This thing about movies that reinvigorate a franchise, like The Thing. You do a prequel to The Thing, so what do you call it? The Thing. Fucking hell, could you not think of something else? And Halloween 2018. Well, we call it Halloween 2018, but it's actually just called Halloween. So you've had Halloween, then Halloween 2, 3, 4, 5, fucking that, Resurrection, H2O, wow, fucking whatever. The Rob Zombie bits. And then you make another Halloween movie to try to excise all of those sequels and follow-ons that the makers of this one didn't want to reference. So we just do a sequel to Halloween, like 78. But what do we call it? Halloween. But it's us that call it Halloween 2018 because to try and differentiate it. Why do filmmakers do this stupidity? Give it a fucking different name. Put Halloween in there, obviously. Or put Scream in there, obviously. But give it a subtitle as well so we can differentiate it. Don't leave it down to us the audience is to go, oh, well, this is the 2018 one, so we call it Halloween 2018. Fuck off. You know, make life easier for us all. We're the ones who are paying to see your movie, to give you your profits. Give us a helping hand there once in a while, you know. So, you've got Halloweenette, you've got Scream 5. What else is coming out this year? Well, you've got the sequel to Vikings, Vikings the TV show. I'm a massive fan of Vikings the TV show. I love it, love it. I think it did end very slowly, sadly, and somberly, and boringly. I do. But then again, it couldn't have done it any other way, because although it did bring in fantastical elements, occasionally seers, oracles, and dreams and visions, and that destiny and fate, it brought all that in, but it did follow the real history of these characters. So if they ended in a very sort of damp squib, then, well, that's how the show had to end that character. And of course it ended with, they do arrive in North America, they do encounter Native Americans, and wonderful it was too, but it was also very anticlimactic. Of course it was. Had to be. That's the only way it could have been. And the trajectory of Vikings arriving in America, well, historically, there's not a great deal of evidence about that. There is evidence, but it's not a great deal to make it dramatic. You know, they didn't have a huge impact, unlike they did where I live. Where I live right now, Wallasey. Wallasey is the Wall of the Sea. Wallasey is a huge Viking enclave. They hit Scotland, they hit Northumbria, they hit Wales, they hit down south, but they came around and they travelled across England as well, from the east to the west, and settled hugely in Wallasey and Merseyside and Cheshire, and this was a huge Viking settlement. So, you know, wow, got Viking blood, pure Celt, mate, pure Celt. That's the way it is. Oh, where's my drinking horn? Do you know what? I am going out today because our New Year's Eve celebrations were slightly curtailed because of, well, events and duties. But I wasn't that bothered about that. Always knew I was going to go out New Year's Day and really bring it in that way properly. So I'm going to go out later on with this on. I might even take my Viking drinking horn as well. I have to strap it to my belt and pour lager. It's a song there, lager, and a bit of whiskey on top. Who knows? Nice foaming head to it all. Be beautiful. So I might do that. No, I'm not gonna might do it. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna happen. And there's the other thing as well about New Year's Eve and resolutions. Everyone makes resolutions. You can make a resolution any time of the year you want. You know, other dates are available. But the thing about like New Year's Eve and the beginning of a new year, it's significant, isn't it? Of course it is. Significant only because human beings created a calendar to go with the seasons and to you know, to give farming some sort of reason to be. And we created this calendar, and there's different calendars also exist as well. The Chinese calendar is much bigger than our one, you know, our meager 12 months. So, but everyone always like, you know, oh, resolution. It makes sense. I get it. But no one ever adheres to them. I have made resolutions in the past, and like everyone else, never fucking stuck to them. But if you've made a resolution and you want to stick to it, then please, you have my blessing. Stick to it. Try to. If it's something that means something to you, then obviously, you know, make the most of an event like the start of a new year to make it come true, to see it through. Some people do. I stop drinking, stop smoking, got a fitness regime, gonna change my job, change my career. Christ. If it's something that's driving you to do something different, something new, to better yourself, to change your environment, your day-to-day living, God, yeah, do it. Of course. I massively applaud anyone that either thinks about it, undertakes it, but I applaud even more for those that see it through. So try and see it through, whatever it may be. And so long as it's not paedophilia, don't do that. Me personally, resolutions, no, I haven't really got any. Other than to perhaps try to do a lot more videos. I think that last year I dropped the number of videos I was doing. The year before the big lockdown year, I did sometimes 2 or 3 a day, but I was doing videos pretty much every day, and great it was too. I'm not sure why that dropped last year. Big Kilt Papa died. Things took a huge downward slide, obviously. Big Kilt Mama has Alzheimer's, Kilty Alzheimer's, and we are picking up the pieces from that on a daily basis. So that may clearly have had an impact. Well, obviously it has. But if I'm going to make a resolution of any description, it's not going to be to stop drinking. Fuck that. It won't be to stop acting like a fool. Fuck that. It won't be to stop dressing up as characters. I'll never stop wearing a kilt. But I think I've got to do more videos and more varied videos. Things have been difficult to try and make it more exciting, to do stuff outside, do stuff in pubs and clubs. It's just not been that word again, that C word, that creeps in all the time, and the R word, restrictions, creeps in all the time. So it's not been the best of years to have done that. I truly hope to do more exciting and more varied things this year for you guys, just and for me, because it's fun. It's fun. This whole thing's meant to be built around fun. All these videos are a distraction from real life, to make you happy, bring a giggle, maybe be a bit thought-provoking, perhaps, if need be. Sometimes all this is wrapped into one video, and to review stuff that maybe you've not heard of, you've not thought about, a film, a TV show, a soundtrack you may have neglected, abandoned, forgotten about. I'll always try to bring that back. And that's the next resolution, more reviews. I definitely dipped in actual reviewing of movies, masks and swords and what have you. You know, I definitely dropped down on the reviewing side of things, actual reviewing of things, you know, and I really hope to bring that back to the fore as well. But as well, you're going to get like all the usual anarchic bollocks and bullshit, but you expect that. You wouldn't have it any other way, would you? You know, would you? I mean, look, here he is. Here's the Wolfman himself, my favourite monster of all time. He's there. He's back in full resplendence. Lon and the Wolfman, Larry Talbot, I drink to you and your everlasting legacy, as hairy and as hoary as it turned out to be. Oh, we're playing Lord of the Rings. I'm wearing the elven cloak with the Lothlorien elven clasp. It's not getting any easier saying that, you know. We've got the TV show for, is it Netflix? Is it Netflix doing it? Oh, Amazon Prime are doing it. It's the biggest show Amazon Prime's ever done, the Lord of the Rings TV show. That's coming out this year, 2022, September. And it's set way before, a couple of ages before the events of Lord of the Rings, with a huge, you know, multinational, huge cast, the biggest production values that Amazon Prime's ever bestowed on a show, and fucking hell, that's going to be great. I hope it's going to be great. Gotta live in hope, folks. You know, that's what it's all about. So genuinely can't wait for that. And it'll chronicle perhaps. Is it the first age? Because Lord of the Rings is the third age, isn't it? I could be wrong about that, but this is the first age of Middle Earth. So all the magic's going to be beginning, and Nazgul, and everyone's going to, all the old tribes are going to come together and form societies and civilizations. And is it the rise of Mordor? Does Sauron come into this? Is the birth of little baby Sauron? He's just an eyeball, but he's just an eye. Look at that, he's just an eye. You've given birth to a lovely baby eyeball. Oh, it's a fucking hot one as well. So that could be fantastic, and I really hope it will be. I suspect it will be great, but nothing's ever going to replace Peter Jackson's depiction of the first Lord of the Rings trilogy. The Hobbit is great, but he massively elaborated upon that, understandably, and I still do love everything he did with The Hobbit. It's just, and he really made a meal out of it, didn't he? But that's Peter Jackson for you, and but nothing detracts from the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. Excitement, adventure, heart, soul, spirit, despair, optimism, nightmare, dreams, victory, beauty, horror, the ugliness of war, racism, religion, politics. It's all in there. It's one of the most all-embracing sagas. Tolkien wrote this, it's all there. Jackson brought it into a medium for mass consumption, which brought in a lot of people who would never read a book before and never dreamt of reading a book, that then did take up a book and read words, stories and backstories, and learned about language and storytelling from a different perspective. And that, again, has to be applauded. So, folks, welcome to 2022. It's going to be another excitingly weird year. But let's hope that we all have more joy from this year than we've had the past couple of years. But as I was saying before, even if things take a massive downward spiral, may do, I'm not in control of it, I can't stop that if it happens. But if it does, you've got to try to look ahead and just look, even if it looks as bleak as hell. You've got your family, you've got something, you've got drink, you've got something to take away from it. And even if it's a concept of us against them, there's something great about that. You've got to remember that. You had that in school, you had that in the military, you had that in whatever employment you are. It's us against them. And within that, there's camaraderie, there's a banding together. And within unity, there's change. Unity, there is beauty, there's harmony. That's where things work. That's where we feel most alive and welcome and happy. And here we go. That's how doing well, didn't it? Unity. That's what it's all about. We're never going to bring everyone together. That's never going to happen. Only aliens are going to make that happen with some big celestial spell. That's and they're just going to go, human beings, it's not fucking worth it. Zap! Gone. Blink of an eye. Move on. And we'll be like the James Webb telescope when it all goes tits up. The Earth will be just a little floating bit of debris. Yeah, sweep it up. The big cosmic brush and pan. Sweep it up. Put it in the big galactic bin. Incinerate. And if that happens, so what? We fucking brought it on ourselves, didn't we? But no. Us against them. But there's a great connectivity with that. And that keeps you alive. Keeps you you get one up on them. That's a huge victory. It means nothing to them, the top 1%, but a little victory for us. Whoa, yes. And you can see that on a day-to-day basis. Whether you win the lottery or whatever, something that happens which is nice. You can all make things nice for somebody else. Even that just means when you pass someone in the street, you just like let on. I can't help but do that because people know Kilt-Man for obvious reasons, and they always like, and I always go like, hiya, you alright, how you doing? It's nice. Recognition, acknowledgement of other people, understanding of other people, and being patient and tolerant with other people. It goes such a long way to making someone's day. Someone who's got up, had a terrible phone call, had just a nightmarish morning, comes out, they've got to go and get a pint of milk or whatever from over the road, and but I don't even want to go out, I don't want to leave the house. And there are people like that. I can't face the world. And like they come out the house and they meet you. And like that interaction that you have with them could actually be the catalyst which makes them either go back and slit their wrists or actually go into that shop and like with a smile on their face, because just someone has got to acknowledge them that they exist and been nice. Even if it's just like, alright, hiya mate. That's all it takes. That's all it takes to change someone's life from despair from 1 minute to, hey, not so bad. That's all it takes. Hear the voice go there. Listen. I always do this, don't I? I go up and down. But it's all good. Emotion's good. Emotion is brilliant. Never bottle your emotions up. I learned that. That's another story. I learned to release emotions quite a while ago. But it was a good thing. Gotta do it. Acting the hard man, the badass, is temporary. And it will let you down. Be human. Humanity means you've got emotions, you've got a spirit, you've got a soul. Things go wrong and you react. You can be strong, you can be stoic. But there's very few that can maintain that. And those that bottle it up, and remain strong for their families, for whoever, for the right reasons, at some point, that lid cracks. And once it begins to seep through, it'll either be a huge torrent which will overwhelm you, or it'll be a slow seeping wound into your soul. And that's where it all goes wrong. So never watching a movie, watching a TV show, listening to a piece of music, seeing a heartfelt charity request, anything that makes your heart go, oh, and you kind of go like, you go, and like you stop rubbing your eye because there's a little tear that's come out there, and you try to bottle it all up. Don't do that. Not to be ashamed of. To be emotional is to be human. And we're all struggling to work out what humanity really is now. We don't trust anybody. And there's so much hypocrisy and divides taking place. But we've all got that. We've all got something beating in there. Physically it's just pumping blood around you. But the heart and the soul, whether you believe in anything like that, but we've all got some inner consciousness, which is what makes us, and every one of us unique, but yet every one of us the same when it comes down to life and experiences. We all go through them. We all suffer. We all celebrate. We all have great times and bad times, and that's never going to change. All I'm saying is, like, when you get the bad times, try to treat them and just get over them. I am struggling now to even think of a way to get around the bad times, but the bad times are always going to hit you. You just have to gather up your inner strength and get over it. You know, and if you need help, reach out for help. If you need someone else, need someone else. If you need to unburden your woes, do so. Don't be afraid, don't bottle it up. The thing is, don't bottle it up every time. And that's... Where am I going with this? Where am I going with this? It's Happy New Year, folks. And by the way, don't worry about despair's coming, but just get over it. Oh, it's a typical Kilt-Man video with no rhyme, reason, no direction, no rationale, just alcohol. Folks, I do wish you all genuinely the best New Year. A 2022 that helps every single person in some way. You can't ask for some big cosmic delivery that we're all going to be, you know, hey, living in sweet meadows, you know, with daisy chains and unicorns. That's... I hope it does happen, but it's not going to happen. And if it did happen, folks, then you wouldn't have any movies. Without strife and grief and trauma, you wouldn't have horror movies, you wouldn't have thrillers, you wouldn't have action-adventure movies, because there'd be no reason for it. We'd all be living in pastoral glory. Like, ooh, yeah, be no movies. And I can't live in a world without movies. I can't do that. I just can't do it. Folks, this has been, I don't know, 46 minutes of something to start your new year off with. Oh, but having said that, another video coming. And you know who sent that, don't you? Oh yeah, Steve 007 Smith. Now, I'll be honest with you. That arrived last year, which was just like a day ago. And I did mean to open that yesterday on New Year's Eve. And it would be the last unboxing of 2021. But real life and stuff. By the way, I hate people that do that, don't you? I found myself doing it a lot in the last... When I see myself on camera, I'm always going like, oh no, yeah, he's conservative, he's piratical. And I'm doing it myself, and I fucking hate people that do that. And I'm doing it myself. But yeah, that arrived yesterday, and stuff ensued, real life stuff. So I never got around to doing that video of unboxing it. And it's another mystery movie canvas artwork from our good friend and super channel contributor, Steve 007 Smith. Saw your pictures from last night, mate. Yeah, you had a good time, New Year's Eve, yeah. A few sly little pickies there. That blonde, oh my God. Well done, sir, well played. And your better half was there as well. I don't know how you snuck them little paparazzi pictures there, but well done to you, well played. And so, he gave me a couple of clues on that, which on the next video, I'll be unboxing that. I think I know what it is. I do. I genuinely think I know what it is, but I could be horribly tipped up wrong on it. And it'll be a nice way to start the year. I think I've won the last couple of years of guessing these, 80 to 90%. I've got them right most of the time. But it'd be a nice way to start maybe the new year, and you get one over on me. But one of your clues, mate, was this is going straight after Steve. One of your clues, I was agonising over it until I really realised exactly what you meant by it, and it's really put. There's only one thing I can think of. Well, we'll see in a wee while. In the meantime, and this crazy, chaotic, never-ending video in between time, take it easy, keep it Celtic, keep it Celtic. I'm going to go out with the pooch, and we're going to have a few drinky poos, because the dog loves a bevy. And then I'll come back, probably unbox that. Then I'm going to go out tonight, like Strider, You know, like Aragorn before he became the King of Men. Because he's better as a renegade maverick sitting in the back of a boozing in brie, you know, like with his little pipe and all that, like in his hood up, like spaghetti western badass in the corner. That's better than King of Men, you know. My friends, you bow to no one. Fuck all that. Oh, he's better as a sword swinging badass, you know, a ranger. The last of the Dunedain. Anyway, folks, have been, always shall be, Kilt-Man. I'll be back with absolutely gazillions of stuff this year. I do promise. That's my resolution for you. You're going to get more from me. And if all I can do is distract you from the shit which inevitably will hit the fan in your lives and all of ours collectively, then I promise to do so. If I can brighten it and make it more colourful, more anarchic, more entertaining, I promise to do so. That's my solemn, absolute promise. You guys are great. You've stuck by me through all this weirdness, and my God, I do love you. I genuinely do. Without you, I wouldn't be doing this, wouldn't I? Quite clearly. And a lot of people have been back and forth to me and saying like the videos have been a nice distraction and just something to while away the day. And they look forward to them and they enjoy them. I pray that continues. That's all I can say. So folks, please be happy. Keep it kilted. Keep it Celtic. And yes, we are wearing today the Stuart Black. One of my favourites, the Stuart Black. It's a real emphatic one. It's a great one. So folks, anyway, enough of all this. I'm going to see you all 2022. We're coming for you. Haters. Got a box to unbox for you, ladies.